You're listening to Raiding the Fringe with Poda, Ostinius, Nehpets, and Dr. Lee. From ancient civilizations to the cutting edge of science, from exploring the outer reaches of space to the Atlantean depths, we discuss the topics of the unknown and the possibilities of the bizarre. Are you hungry to expand your horizons? Come get your fill as we raid the Fringe.
Hey everybody, thank you for joining us for another episode. Today we're here to talk about ghosts, paranormal activity. I'm Dr. Lee. Over to my left here is my good friend Poda.
What's up?
Across the table is Ostinius.
Salutations.
And over to my right is Nehpets.
Good evening.
The four of us don't claim to be experts necessarily on the occult and the afterlife, but we love to dive into it and talk about it and bring things that might expand your horizons to life.
I'm for it.
That's the stat to have.
Now, do you support ghosts? Or...
I give them nothing. I don't owe them any money, alimony, child support, nothing.
But would you say you're a constituent?
I vote. What are they? What side of the poll?
I'm only for democratic ghosts.
Let's just say he's in cahoots.
Well, to one degree or another, I know we've all had our own personal experiences or run-ins with that which you can't explain. And I'd like to give each of us a chance to share a story tonight. But before we get started, I've put together a little game. I like to call it Ghost, but No Cigar. We've got a trivia game here, and the winner of this game will get to go first with their story.
Ooh. Okay.
Bring it on.
That's an odd angle. I'm down.
But it's a good warm-up. It'll give everybody a chance to figure out how much they actually know about ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
Rather fleeting, really.
Broad term. Ghosts.
So, I will pose a question. Open-ended at first. I have a multiple choice if you need it for a clue.
Lifeline?
Okay.
No lifelines.
An undead lifeline?
If you make an incorrect guess, it'll go to the next person.
Okay.
If you get it right, you get a point, and then we'll start with the second person for rotations. That way everybody gets a chance to be first.
Are you keeping a tally of points over here?
I am. I'm keeping score.
All right.
If you get it right from the open-ended question, you get 2 points. If you get it right after the multiple choice has been revealed, you get 1 point.
Sounds legit.
All right, let's dive into it.
Bring it.
All right. So, for Poda, you get the first question. This should not be very hard. I start off easy. This noisy ghost is known for its frightening manipulation of material objects. These are all names
It's
of...
that kind of game.
It's
A Dimmick box.
These are all the names... No, it's
That's
not...
a box. That's not a ghost.
I'm sorry, let me clarify. I'm not looking for the specific names of, like, the 1942 ghost. No, this is ghost types in general.
Look, Casper.
You mean Jerry?
Yeah, okay.
These are going to be the name of official ghost genres, ghost types.
Archetypes.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, ghost archetypes. So this noisy ghost is known for its frightening manipulation of material objects. What kind of ghost is it?
Poltergeist.
Correct. 2 points for Poda.
Thank you.
Why does it get 2 points?
Because I didn't have to
You
go
got
to...
it before
You
I
didn't
had to
get the
reveal
multiple
the
choice.
multiple choice.
Oh, he didn't get it before you had to ask it the second time.
I misunderstood.
I see. So if you ask me to repeat the question, I'm supposed to say no?
No, you had to explain the question.
You're the one that's making the rules up, so...
I'll have the ghost repeat it.
Well, ask
Yeah,
the
you're the one that
spirits.
set the rules up. It's like, whose line is it anyway? I award you 3,000 points.
That's right.
Okay.
All right. This one goes to Ostinius. These are usually comforting, often manifesting with a smell or faint noises.
A fart demon. That's what I want to say. I got it. That's a toughie. I mean, most people feel these things when, I don't know, like a beloved grandparent passes on. Mm-hmm. It's a comforting spirit.
They have an official name for this brand of ghost.
Could you repeat the question again?
Sure. They're usually comforting, often manifesting with a smell or faint noises.
Okay, so
Oh, a guardian angel?
No. Angels aren't considered ghosts. That's a whole different branch.
We're talking all supernatural.
Well, that's
Okay.
Demons aren't considered ghosts either, but
Actually,
these
they
are
are.
going to come into play. If you're going to count one,
I
you
believe
gotta
it's
count
time for the
another.
multiple choice
yeah,
question.
I'm
now.
going to give you the multiple choice.
I don't know at all. You're like, these are going from easy to hard. No, they're going from easy to impossible. Continue.
It's a conferto.
A conferto. Is it A, an odor ghost, B, a Ouija entity, or C, an interactive personality?
Wow, really narrowed it down for me, buddy.
Where do you come up with this BS?
Let's say an interactive personality.
That's correct.
Hey.
And I'm going to give you the full 2 points because you had it all narrowed down because these are generally family members and close
Yeah,
people.
I know what you're talking about, but I've never heard it. Interactive
This
entity.
is like,
to me,
whose line is it
that is
anyway?
actually
He gets
something
points
I'm going
to
to
whoever
bring
he
up.
deems.
I'm going
That's
to bring
right.
up the conversation. This is something I was going to talk about, but that's not how I would have defined it.
Yeah,
That is its official name.
I had no idea. Never heard
Okay.
The
that.
Paranormal Society
I
has
looked
agreed.
this up.
Yep, it's Paranormal State has agreed.
All right. Now, to give you the one that actually is easy. I'm just kidding.
He's just kidding. It's incredibly hard.
I have no idea how to judge difficulty on some of these questions because what one person might find easy, another person's going to find incredibly difficult.
His was super easy.
I did almost say Poltergeist.
If you had asked for the multiple choice, Poultrygeist might have been one of them.
Well, if you had left out the manipulation of physical objects, I would have said Banshee. But then you said manipulation of physical objects. Oh, clearly.
I'm going to say Banshee for my answer.
Before even hearing it.
Before I hear that.
Correct. in that you're wrong.
Oh,
No,
no points for me then.
Here's the question. Often caught on camera, these floating spirits are the most
Orbs.
common. Yes.
Yeah.
They are the most common of all sightings.
Or dust particles. As some
I
people
was going to
believe.
say, what's the debunking answer? Yeah, dust particles.
Wills o' wisps.
All right. Well, we've got a 3-way tie. All three of you got it right.
You only have
with
3
2
questions?
points. Huh? I
A tiebreaker?
had 4 and a tiebreaker, but if I give a fourth one, who am I going to get to go first?
Whoever we raise the hand first.
Yeah, that sounds fair. Look at Poda already. I'm ready.
All right.
I don't want to hit.
Since this is the tiebreaker, I'm going to go ahead and give the multiple choice with it.
Okay, but if you raise your hand and you get it wrong, you don't get a second shot.
Yep.
Right. This type of spirit can project in more places than one and may look like anything or anyone, dead or still living. The multiple choice is shadow people, doppelgangers, or crowd demons. Ostinius, your hand was up first.
Doppelganger?
Doppelganger is correct.
That's because there's no such thing as a crowd demon.
You don't think so, but you always lose them in the crowd.
Okay, now for fun, we've got a lightning round.
Okay.
That was lightning. It was a terrible sound.
That was an awful lightning.
That was the wind before the wind.
It kind of like sounds like a slow motion opening a Pepsi can.
That's refreshing.
Num num. Who says num 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 after drinking a Pepsi?
You.
Flash.
All right.
Lightning.
So,
Very, very
for all of these, the answer is either ectoplasms, shadow people, or demons.
Are these
For each one of these?
categories?
This is
For
many?
for each one of these,
All of the above.
you've got.
What
So you
now?
have to tell me. You have to
Ectoplasm?
tell me if it's an ectoplasm, a shadow person, or a demon.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
And this is a lightning round. I'm going to ask you. You pick one. If you're wrong, we just go to the next person. Now you've only got 2 to choose from, so it's going to be easier.
Ectoplasm, shadow people, or demon.
Ectoplasm, shadow people, or demons.
Okay.
A black mass standing in a doorway.
Demon.
Yes. A black shape in your peripheral vision.
Shadow
Ostinius.
people.
Yes. Nehpets. A white mist-like shape hovering in the room.
What did you just say? Let's see.
Ectoplasm, shadow people, or demons.
Well, I guess ectoplasm, since it's the only one left.
Yes. But that's coincidence. A black mist-like shape to Poda. A black mist-like shape hovering in the room.
Demon.
No.
Ectoplasm!
Yes. Because the ectoplasms are often seen as white and gray, but could also be black.
No, I never heard the black one.
No, looks like you're getting ready to win.
All right. And Nehpets. Which one is capable of possession? Ectoplasms, shadow people, or demons?
It's on the tip of my tongue.
Is it possessing the tip of your tongue?
Well, you
Yes,
haven't heard
yes.
our stories yet.
This demon is possessing my tongue.
You're correct.
So what's the next? Okay, so it's between me and Ostinius over here.
Yeah.
You can do
I only have one left.
Y'all can do.
Actually, I think right now Ostinius won. He's just got more points than everybody.
I think me and Nep are on par.
You got all your. He got all of his. You got all yours, and you got one of Poda's.
Ooh, that's true.
Okay, you can go first. I don't care.
I'm still curious to hear this.
Yeah, go ahead. You put work into it.
I only have one left.
Okay.
It retreats as soon as it's spotted. Ectoplasm, shadow people, or demons?
I think we both know this one. Why don't
My
you-
wang.
That's like a turtle poking. Oh, somebody's out here. Whoop. Whoop.
It's allergic to humans.
That's shadow people.
Yes.
Okay, well, since there was a few answers that had to deal with shadow people, there's a huge distinction between many of these. You know, depends on the lore you talk about. There depends on tons of stuff. I've seen shadow people. There was only one real time that I was chased by shadow people, and it was very short lived. And then after that, I don't think I've ever seen shadow people ever again.
That's interesting. I've had experiences with shadow people, but I've never heard of a story of someone being chased by one.
Yeah, neither have I.
The weirdest thing, it was as much like it is now, it was kind of the golden hour. So Nep and I used to live on the same street, right across the street, catty corner from each other. Mm-hmm. And Charles Deerduff was well, maybe I shouldn't say his name.
We had another friend.
I'm not going to edit that out.
So we'll just call him Charles D.
No. Let's call him Mr. Erduff.
No, sorry, C. Deerduff. Anyway, we were hanging out one day and started seeing.
You mean on our bikes?
No, we weren't on our bikes.
Okay.
No, wait, you were there.
Yeah.
You remember that day?
We were on our bikes.
We started on our street, then we hopped the bikes, we rode down to his street, and it was like from rooftop to rooftop.
Yeah.
Like out of the peripherals.
Yeah, I remember that.
The shadow people were chasing us.
How many were
I didn't
there?
remember it until just now, but yeah, we started at our school,
Yeah.
and we rode bikes back home, and then we ended up in a park.
Yeah. We ended up at Tui Park in Muncie. Mm-hmm. And we got chased the whole way. The whole way. It started as something, and I forget who was the first one to bring it up. It might have been Charles. And he was like, "Did you see that over there?" And I was like, "You talking about that like shadow that just like flitted out of the daylight?" He's like, "Yeah." And then we started talking about it, and all of us had dictated that we had seen something or other. Could not obviously put a definition to it because it was a dark shape out of the peripheral vision. And so then we started moving. There was an eerie feeling that came over us, and we need to get out of here. It's time to go. Quickest escape is a bike, and we were riding, and so we took off and went to the park. We were young. I don't.
I would say we were still middle school.
Yeah, we were in middle school. I was in 8th grade. You were like in 7th grade or something.
And I know I just said that I don't ever remember or hearing about a shadow person chasing anybody. I didn't really view it as chasing, although I did ride my bike fast, so I honestly forgot about it until you mentioned it.
I felt as if there was a chase as if a chase ensued, because we were running and they were following, and it was never direct confrontational. There was always this awkward, uneasy feeling, almost threatening, and we were trying to, distance ourselves from that. And they chased us. They chased us all around. We went to the park. There were trees in the park, and we ran around throughout the park. And then eventually, the situation ended, as it were. And after that, I never saw another one.
They said there was a group of them chasing you all?
I would say there was no less than 4.
I would say there would be more than one.
Yeah.
Now, can you describe, were they more humanoid or extreme features in different directions? Do they have weapons? Were they snapping their fingers like West Side Story?
It's hard because it's out of your peripherals. They didn't come dancing on the street. It wasn't like that. It was along the lines of something crawling. Maybe at first it's around a car. And you go to look, and there's nothing there, obviously. So you turn back, and then out of your peripherals, something's climbing along the roof of a house. And I always had the impression, not to say that I can specifically say, this is exactly what I saw, but out of the peripherals, to me, it felt like a scurrying bat on a flat surface. There was more shadow that leaked cloak-like from arms that were quickly moving. I don't want to say it had wings or anything like that, but it's kind of what it would resemble. Would be like a shuffling bat. Like that's the easiest way my young brain could put a thing to it.
That sounds pretty specific, actually.
And it was very scary. I was scared. I was scared. I'll admit it. I was scared. I rode my bike very fast too, and it was scary. But it wasn't anything weird or concrete, because when we'd start feeling okay, we would slow down and have a stop. But then that uneasy feeling would come again. And you would start catching those little glimpses. And it wasn't full night. It wasn't like it was full night. It was golden hour daytime-esque, where the shadows dance along certain things and you catch those long shadows. But the way they would move was totally unnatural, totally non-static, as, a typical neighborhood would be.
Or shadow, as if movement with intelligence.
Exactly.
Movement with intent.
Yes. And so that's how I'm going to open the floor. Nep was there.
Yeah.
And we were young, and I don't remember that
was a
much,
very
so I
long
don't
time ago.
expect you to remember that much.
That's going well into the depths of.
But more answers than not, we're shadow people. That's how I'm opening it.
Yeah. I remember feeling kind of definitely something foreboding, you know what I mean? But not much of a memory of it, very, too much.
From what I've been reading, it sounds like it'd be more closely related to demon than shadow people. Shadow people are very defensive and run away. They're not much for following, chasing, or foreboding.
I think I would beg to differ. I think that there is a foreboding, there's a presence, and whether or not that presence is directly malignant, it is still a presence that is unnerving.
Malignant?
I'm not saying malignant.
I wouldn't classify it as a demon, in all honesty.
I'm not.
From my
knowledge, I wouldn't either.
Or remembrance of it.
I would say it wasn't malignant. It was unnerving, and then when turning to face that, there was definitely a fleeing, aspect to the whole thing, because they did not want to be seen. And it was like, if I look directly at you, you're hiding. But when I don't, I feel this looming uneasiness. Now, a demon, I would say, is a totally different thing. And I would yield the floor to Nehpets on this subject. Because you had more experience with that. I did have a little bit of experience with that. But
now, I know you were younger and you were in a mad rush, but did it feel territorial? Like, was there a point where you crossed a boundary that it didn't want to follow, or did it just get tired of chasing you?
I know this is going to sound crazy, but my mom, she was praying for us a lot. And I believe a lot of the times that I used to do crazy, stupid stuff in the occult and then, chasing these things, that that her prayers saved me in a lot of aspects. What I remember happening is she came to that park in her car, out of nowhere, and told me to get in the car. And I got in the car, and I'm like, what's going on? And I remember her distinctly saying, she's like, I was just told to come and get you. And then it ended for me. And I remember leaving you and Charles there at the park. So obviously something foreboding enough to make my mom come and get me. And I mean, that, again, we were real young then, so.
That can happen too. I mean, she specifically said that someone, like she was told to come and get you. So it wasn't like a psychic thing. It was more of a message.
God told her to come and get me before something really does happen. Because I believe that, I mean, we were dumb kids. We could have got further down that rabbit hole that day. We could have.
We could have.
Definitely.
Well, that is kind of creepy and foreboding, but awesome. Poda, we're going to give you a chance to tell a story of your own.
I'm not really sure where to begin.
There's so much, right? Like,
how about the beginning?
We all have this basic root in all this
That's
stuff.
a different conversation.
Except for Dr. Lee a little bit. Dr. Lee's always been more of a scientific mind.
Yeah, if I've got to say that I'm the only one here that doesn't have a solid ghost story. I know I was about to let you tell one. I'll let you think about that and formulate it, and I'll stall by giving my story. I only have one supernatural story that I can give credit to, of which I was only 4 years old. And I was in the kitchen, and I remember my mother was making cookies, and we were the only ones home, and my babysitter at the time shouted over my shoulder, "Psst, hey, over here." And so I turned and looked, and I saw her face through this translucent curtain on the little window in the back door. And I was excited. I'm like, I don't know what she's doing here. I'm cool. I'm all for it. And so I went back to the back door, opened it up. No one was there.
That's when Lee realized that he had been molested.
I wish. Oh!
So I didn't tell you she was high.
But she was never there. No one else heard it. My other brother Matt was there, and my mom was there. Nobody heard a thing. Nobody saw a thing. I literally saw her face through the window, open the door while still seeing her face through the window, and not seeing her when the door was open.
Uh-huh.
Sounds like a trap.
I was very young.
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen anything to hint to me of ghosts since then. Even hanging around people, no one talks about how they've seen a ghost that I didn't just laugh while I was there with the room. They're like, "Oh, did you see that? That was a ghost." I'm like, dude, that was a bird. Just flew across your freaking face. And I'm not saying it doesn't exist. In fact, I'm very interested to find out that it does. And I've talked to psychics. I've talked to ghost hunters. The closest thing I ever got was one told me that I had an aura that puts spirits to rest with me merely being in the room, so they cannot be active while I'm around.
I believe that.
So I got nothing.
I believe that your mind's so analytical that you will always find some type of excuse or rationalization that would make it.
And that's true.
Non-plausible. You know what I mean? Like, you were 4 years old. That you were in the prime time of believing everything at that point in time. Now, that sounds like a scary freaking story. I mean, like, that's anything going, "Psst, come here."
Yeah. And it was
that
very,
is a no, sir.
Very
no.
clear and specific. I'm very analytical, and I take things apart too much. It's not that I want to disprove things. I want to pick it apart until I can't.
Yeah.
And so I'd love to believe, and I love hearing these stories, and I'm hoping to be able to experience something so definitive for myself. But I've never been able to.
That's pretty definitive. I know you hide behind the age of that happening, but again, that happens to a lot of people. They'll hear somebody be like, your brother or someone you're related to or someone you know well telling you to come here from a different room, and you're like, oh, that happens a lot.
Yeah.
But, I don't know.
What may be believed in mythology as a will-o'-the-wisp.
Yes.
Accompanied by an orb or some such.
She lived near a swamp.
Yeah. No, like Navi
Usually.
from Legend of Zelda.
Hey, listen!
and they just drag you off into the wilderness.
Even if there wasn't a swamp when we moved in, it eventually got there.
How was your relationship with your babysitter? And I'm not asking
Show us
inappropriately.
where
Oh,
the
she
doll
was
should
all
touch you.
over this.
There may have been some fondling, you know.
Well, she had to put you in the tub and then into bed. I mean, yeah, she was all over.
Wash up. It's 3:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah, she couldn't get me into the tub unless she was in it first.
She was quite the
Oh,
dancer.
that's my guy.
No, it was just cool. She was a good person. I don't know.
Describe the face.
She was a teenager, and I was 4.
Dang,
What was she wearing?
I mean, in the image of the door.
She had that hair, and her eyes had her nose outnumbered.
She had, hey, you with the face.
No, but the face. Okay, so the curtain that was over the window, it was kind of translucent. It was a brown curtain, and for a man with a bad memory, I sure do remember this so clearly. Probably because it scared the shit out of me. But it was a brown curtain, and it was more like I could see the contours than the face itself. Like, have you ever seen a picture with the embossed effect where the colors make it look like it's bumpy? And so I could see her face, and it was moving clearly. Like, I could see all the details of it, but not the colors therein.
Now, did you get any feeling once you opened the door, or did you hear anything else after you opened the door?
I did feel crap filling my pants.
Okay.
No, I didn't. My mom was cooking cookies, so I smelt the cookies, but I did not get any, sense of this other presence being foreboding or anything like that. No malice, no positive feelings either. It was just, hey, come here. Okay. Oh shit, there's no one to come here to.
From the things I've experienced, that definitely sounds like a trap of some sort, because that was clearly looked like a figure in your life that you had trust for because they were a babysitter. And you had a trust for them. Therefore, you went to the door to let them in. You possibly could have let something into your house at that point in time.
I suppose I hadn't thought of that, but I haven't experienced anything since then. So whether I did let something in or not, it wasted its opportunity.
Or whether or not it attached itself to you or something else.
So anyway, enough about me. That's my go. What do you have for us, Poda?
Well, I have been thinking, and I do have many different stories, but I'm really having trouble picking one.
Oh, pick that one.
Oh, that was my thing too. That's why I decided to start with shadow people, because I'm like, I got something that relates to Lee's. I got something that's going to relate to almost any one of these, I'm sure.
How about this? Give me a topic from the things that you've researched for this episode, and I'll see if I have something that coalesces with that topic. It'll help my brain pull one out of the file.
All right. Just any of them? Like, how about, I read a thing about crowd demons. They only exist when there are lots of people, and they come in the form. It's not an actual demon, but they're called crowd demons. They only show up when there's lots of people, and it's usually some sort of amorphous shape that all can agree was there, a presence.
There you go. I know what you're talking about now.
Like what?
Something that shows up that reminds you of something, even though it might not be directly that thing, and then it, like a will-o'-the-wisp, it leads you through the crowd to something. Is that what you're talking about?
It shows up to more than one person usually.
Oh,
Like, people can agree it was there.
okay, that's
And sometimes it's just a presence.
Oh, like
But sometimes it's visible.
like when there was that whole crowd of
But it's
people
never
that saw
specific.
Saint Mary come down and do something.
oh,
Something along that.
Sort of.
There's 200 people that saw that.
Except most of the time they can't agree. Not just they can't agree with each other, but they can't agree with themselves what they really saw.
But it's like
it
a
wasn't
mob
specific.
mentality apparition.
Sort of, yeah.
Okay. Mob mentality apparition, please.
Surprisingly and unfortunately, I'm an introvert and avoided crowds for the better part of my life unless I was at a concert and I was nowhere near sober. I have seen many people and or things.
Okay, I'll tell mine.
That's
This would be-
that's another interesting point, though. I'm sorry, but a lot of ghost stories that I've heard have always had something to do with not being sober.
No, this one's completely sober.
I've had
jumpstart too.
I've had way more sober than I have.
He was there for this one too, so
I've had both, but I was specifically referring to crowds in general because I don't like a lot of crowds. Therefore, in the past, if I was going to be somewhere where there was a crowd, I would make sure I was under the influence of something to stay calm.
I see. Yeah, a lot of people have that.
Social anxiety.
So, okay. It was a group of us, about 4. And Poda was with me and a couple other people. We went to an old house that they used to live in, but they actively lived in this house. And when we got there, there were some things around, like you said, the shadow people. There were things darting back and forth in the backyard a lot. And at that point in time, I was really perceptive to spirits. And so that place was definitely haunted. It's one of the scariest things I've seen. I look in the window of this house, and the best way that I can actively describe it is that it is a very malnourished person. You can see their rib cage and their skin's all the way sunken in. Their arms are turned around backwards, and their feet and legs are cramped out and crawling like a crab walk. The skin is almost like mummified on its face, and it's climbing up the wall. It looks at me, lunges to me, I scream, and I back up.
And I back up.
Where was this?
It was a house on a road called Piccadilly.
Hey, Piccadilly Lane?
Piccadilly Lane. And the house has been known to have some kind of spiritual activity there. Seeing something that vivid was not something that I was normally used to. Usually you get...
this wasn't even corner of the eye?
This is straight looking at it. And at that time, it was the scariest thing I ever seen.
Ouch. I had a freaking face in a window. You've got a creepy crawly going up a window like in a horror movie.
That wasn't imagination. I was not under the influence of any kind of substance. And
so it like leapt at you, and you stuttered back, and it was gone?
No, I did not look back.
You turned heel and ran.
No, I didn't run.
It's
one of those things like...
You turned heel and sauntered out sexily. Gotta get out of here.
I didn't look back in the window. I mean... They were my ride. It wasn't like I'm like, hey guys, we need to leave. This place is haunted. No, we went there because it was haunted. So it's not like I saw something creepy.
This room is not clear.
Yeah, I'm like, this room was, again, Poda was there with me. He didn't see this because he was messing around somewhere out back. I don't know, doing something.
Chasing things in the field.
Yeah, like doing something.
Oh, and you were telling me the other day about a story of where you ran into a doppelganger that was posing as Poda.
Yes, that is at the other haunted house that I used to frequent. All 3 of
the house.
My comrades here have been there. Yeah, the house. But yeah, all 3 have been there, and we've all seen crazy things there.
That's like I said, I got
that could be a whole podcast in itself, just like the house.
I got millions.
The house by Blood Road.
I had many events there. Went there with many different groups of people.
Went there with a lot. Took so many people there, and so many people.
And I brought you guys there for the first time.
Do you want to talk about Blood Road for the people that don't know it?
The story of Blood Road was that an old guy riding in a truck down country roads out back of podunk towns such as Albany and Dunkirk, Indiana. Cornfields, fields of farming as far as the eye can see. Well, one late night, a man was driving down the road in his truck, and there was a young boy riding his bike along the side of the road. He was visiting a farm friend, and his farms are spread apart, 1 to 2 miles each. This kid had quite a ride to go. Supposed to be home before dusk, but left at dusk. So halfway through the ride, it got dark. A man driving down the road is tired driving in his truck. Ends up swerving because he's dozing off at the wheel. He hits the boy. The boy is bloodied and battered. The man doesn't know what to do. Grabs the child and throws him in the back of the open truck. Drives down the road, continuing on. There's a huge bump in the road, and upon hitting this bump, Supposedly, the boy's body flips out of the truck, catches on the hitch rig, and gets dragged all the way to this man's farmhouse where he buried the boy to stop from being caught. If you follow the drive on these specific roads, you don't see anything driving one way, but when you turn around and go the other way, you see the bump. You see the splatter of blood on the road and the line that is drugged from the boy's body all the way to his home where this body was buried.
And I was taken there. I remember going there too. Mm-hmm. And it blew my mind because I didn't even know. I mean, I knew the basic story, but I didn't know that it was a conditional viewing of the blood road or whatever. We're driving down the road, and at the time, we were all looking for this blood smear that's supposed to be going down the road, and nobody saw a thing. And we gave up and turned around to go home, and it happened to be right there at the beginning where you see this big red splat and then a line drugged down the road all the way back the way we had come. It was crazy.
That is a real place that you can visit?
Yeah. Get out of your car with the headlights on. You look down one way, there's nothing. You turn the other way, there's a bright red streak of blood going down the road.
Now, this
and
road
it does end at a house.
It does.
It's very faint and hard to see where it goes, though, once you get to a certain point.
Yeah, but it leads somewhat. It's close to the other house. The house we're
now,
talking
the
about.
other house is
I heard that's
only a country block away. Like, I'm not even joking. You just go down to the stop sign, take a left, go down to the next road, take a right, and that's Blood Road.
Now, I heard they've paved over it since then.
I haven't been there.
They paved over it multiple times, and it still always came back.
Forever.
Really?
But the story of the house that I'm talking about was that this family had a daughter, had a few children actually, and the daughter had a sleepover happening that night. The parents were out on a date. The daughter was old enough to, take care of herself, and, they weren't. So they go out on a date, and the children are left to their own devices. Something happens. Like in all good stories, something happens. No one knows exactly. But the house catches on fire while all these children are upstairs. And once that happened, they had a trouble. They could not open up the bedroom door. So the house was aflame, and these girls were sitting up there. And one of them actually jumped out the window. One of these actually jumped out the window and hit her head on the rock, and she died on impact. She was the only one to actively make it out of the building. The other one's burned alive in that house. And that house was half burnt down when I went there. And that place was the best way to describe it, Starbucks for ghosts. It wasn't a place where a lot of things stayed, but it was a place that a lot of things visited. So you would have different entities coming there, almost like I say, like a coffee shop.
Like the veil is thinner there.
Yeah, there are the ones that live there, and then there are the ones that visit. I don't know how to explain it.
Indeed.
Not everything you saw there lived there.
No.
But there were a couple. The weeping woman in the front door. I don't believe there's any story for her. I don't have a story for her. I don't know, and I don't believe she's the mother of those dead children. But she lives there for some reason.
Well, it sounds like we could do a whole season on just ghost stories. We're running a little low on time. Poda, I still want to give you your chance to tell your story. So pick one.
I did have a story pop into my head from years ago when I was a child, probably about 10, 12 years old. My family and another family would always go up north, camping once a year, Memorial Day weekend. And we would play in the woods. We were kids. And the cabin was up on a hill, so it was surrounded by gully, valley, whatever you want to describe it. The cabin was on top of a hill. And spending a lot of times in the woods, exploring, walking around. I got really used to that area. It would take a significant event in those woods, day or night, for me to be lost because of how much time I've spent in those woods and on those trips, because it happened every year for more than 10 or plus years. And I was by myself, not thinking about it too much, just walking through the woods, actually looking for a pond that I was told was near the cabin that had filled, well, it was a hole. It filled with water, but they said they found frog eggs in it, so I wanted to go check them out. I heard they were like jelly beans or jelly.
You're going to eat
little,
them?
Little eyes. I thought about it, but it wasn't my intent when I went to find it.
Yummy stack.
It's weird thinking about it, because I wasn't going in any general certain direction, but I was going roughly in a straight line away from the cabin to my back. And I did the classic walk crisscross between trees, so you're trying to keep a straight line so you don't get veered off, and moss always grows on the outside of trees in case you get lost. And
I mean, yes, they do grow on the outside.
That's why they do it. Hey, I think somebody's going to get lost one of these points. Hey boys, want to grow some moss? Let's do it.
I believe you. Continue.
I believe you too. I'm not.
well, I heard what sounded like just a fair-sized medium creature, like raccoon, bobcat, something medium-sized like a dog, run behind me. Like I heard it go through the leaves. Like I know what those sounds like. When I turned around, there was like a little shanty, or as big as like a, I don't know, couple $100 little shed from Walmart or Menards right now. But it wasn't one of those, but given those structural size, it looked like a little house just made out of sticks, all propped together, nothing tied, just fitted together so that the gravity of the sticks themselves would kind of hold it down and in place. And there was actually moss on the roof now that I think about it. So it looked like someone built it. They were playing like it was a hunting cabin or something like that. I didn't think too much of it. I'm a kid. I want to go inside, see if anybody's home. When I went inside, there was just a pile of animal bones. Not ripped apart, not feathers, not dirt paw prints and human footprints mixed with faces or anything like that. Just a little pile of bones, like if someone had really bad OCD and was eating a bucket of chicken and just like stacked them together to make their own little bone cabin. And at that point, I'm like, okay, this is actually really cool. I'm making this a fort. Now we're going to play a new game, and this is going to be the fort for tonight's flashlight tag. So I walk out of the door, looking straight up at the cabin, and start walking back towards the cabin. I get almost to the edge of the forest before the yard starts for the cabin, and then I turn back to see what it looked like from this vantage point, because I'm thinking, I couldn't see that when I was walking down here. Granted, I wasn't really looking for it, but it is a good size. It would be fairly obvious. And it was gone. I backtracked right then at that moment, right back to where I was, and there was just a cleared area where the leaves were moved apart. No bones, no stick cabin, moss roof,
Ghost
little shed. I never got an answer to that one. I never figured that one out. And it was interesting.
It surprises me that you didn't have some wizened old men in there trying to sell you a genie lamp.
I was young, but not 100% stupid.
In a monkey paw?
Little children running
But
through
that's-
forest.
That's freaky enough.
Yeah, no, even at a young age, if it was just some guy by himself sitting in a pile of sticks, odds are at that age, I would have just kept going. I wouldn't have tried to get him into a conversation like, hey, what are you doing out here? Oh, the government, eh? Yeah, fuck them.
That's quite the sultry look.
We haven't decided anything, but thanks for listening.
Ghosts are scary.
Well, you summed it up perfectly, actually. So there's a lot of crazy shit out there. You summed it up so much better than that.
Come on, Lee, you're the host. You can do this.
I know.
You got it.
Yeah, when it's your turn to be the host, you'll have fun with that too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm gonna have
In case
so
you
much
can't
fun.
tell, we're
You're
still
gonna have
fairly new
fun.
at this, and I'm having a good time.
Having a good time.
But when you're put on the spot, words are not always your friend. Well, we are running out of time. We have to wrap this up. It's been interesting to hear all of these great stories from all of us. There's no doubt there's got to be something extra out there. I still have not experienced any of that myself. I look forward to the day when it does, and I'm so glad that all of you have been able to experience this, especially since so far I have not heard of any harm coming to any of you for it. It's one thing to have a ghost story, and it's another thing to be mangled and killed by one. And I'm sure we've got thousands more stories that we could tell, and we probably will on another episode. But for now, this has been the four of us with
Raiding the Fringe.